Shalom, friends. Here we are, the fifth of our 10 introductory talks on Neo-Hasidism today, what Neo-Hasidism means for us. Today we're going to talk about Torah. What does Torah mean in Neo-Hasidism? And I want to begin by talking about one of the great values that Hasidism teaches us, the value called pnimiut. And that means inwardness. Always look deeper within. The truth is not the surface appearance of things. The truth is not as it appears on the outside. You have to look in deeper to find the truth. We've seen that now in two of our previous conversations. We've seen it with regard to the world. The world is not just what it appears to be. The world is a hitlabshut. We had that wonderful word last week, hitlabshut. The world is a putting on of the garment. God puts on the garment of the one puts on the garment of the many. God puts on the garment of the beautiful creations of nature. They're all the outer appearance of the inner self, the inner one that is the soul of the universe. Nishmato shel olam. Just like, remember, the soul fills the body, so does God fill all the world, so does Havaya fill all the world. And so too with the person. The person is not the outer appearance. A person is not the clothes she or he wears. A person is not whether they look beautiful or not. You have to look deeper, have to look within, have to discover the soul of the person. That's what it's all about. And then there's the soul within that soul, neshama neshamot, which is the divine presence in that person, which is the one shining through the light within that person. So too with the Torah. Don't look only at the surface appearance of the Torah. The Holy Zohar already said many hundreds of years ago that those who look just at the Torah text itself, who see the stories, the things happening in the Torah, they're fools. They're just looking at the externals. They're looking at the garment, not at the soul of it all. And therefore we developed many ways of reading the Torah. The Midrash says wonderfully, Shivim Panim La Torah. The Torah can be read in 70 ways. Every verse can be read in 70 different ways. There's a book called Tikkunei Zohar, in addition to the original Zohar, that actually tried it out. It took the word Bereshit, or the first verse of the Torah, and it's in 70 chapters. It gives you 70 different readings of the word Bereshit and what that first verse means. Some of you know about Pardes, the 4 levels of reading the Torah that was very popular a long time ago. Pardes, the Pshat, the simple reading, Remez, the allegorical reading, Drash, what the rabbis made of it, the midrashic reading, and then Sod was the secret reading was the meaning of it according to Kabbalistic symbols. And the Kabbalists reread the Torah entirely, and every noun in the Torah pointed to one or another aspect of Kabbalistic truth. But here I want to go back even farther. The Ramban says something like it, but it's found in early Midrashim too. The root of all language is one word. And that's Shem Havaya. That's the name of God, God's self. That's the name that means being. Remember, means is, was, will be, all smushed together. That word is the source of all language. And that word is the word. Why is it the source of all language? Because it's made up only of breath. There's no hard consonant in it. There's no guttural or labial to stick your mouth into. There's only breath. Yeah. The Vav was originally wah, ha, yeah, wah, yeah, ha, wah, ha. They're all breaths. And breath is the beginning of speech. Breath is the beginning of speech. We need to breathe before we can speak. So as we breathe in the form of you can't pronounce the name of God. You're not allowed to. You can breathe the name of God. And that breath, of course, that precedes speech is also the breath that was breathed into Adam Rishon, that was breathed into the first person, which is the breath of God. Because the Ramban told us that whoever breathes into someone else breathes his own breath. So when God breathes the breath of life into Adam, God is breathing divinity. God is breathing the divine presence into the person. And therefore that word of breath, that word, you can practice it. That word is the root of all speech. It's called Hadibur Ha'elyon, the upper language, the upper speech. But what do we mean when we say God speaks? I agree with the Rambam, who said a long time ago, God doesn't have a mouth. God doesn't have vocal cords. God doesn't have a throat. Therefore, when we say speech regarding God, we have to mean something very different than we mean with human beings. It's not an actual verbal process. It's a granting of realization. It's a granting of realization. The Talmud teaches that all the commandments are rooted in the first two commandments of Sinai. Anochi Hashem Elokecha and Lo Yelecha. I am the Lord your God. I am Havaya your God. Let's not say the Lord from the English translation. I am Havaya your God, who brings you forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Yud He Vav He is that which makes every person free, taking us out of all our Egypts, all our bondages. Sometimes the hard part is taking the house of bondage out of us, not taking us out of the house of bondage. But Yud He Vav He means that every person is to be free. And Lo Yelecha means you shall not worship anything else alongside it. No other value shall be primary compared to that recognition of Havaya that liberates us from all. And we know all the idols of our time. The prohibition of the second commandment wasn't just against graven images in the old-fashioned sense, but against all the idolatries of our own time too. I don't have to list them all because they're so obvious to you. So that first word, Anochi, just like the first word of Bereshit, the Torah is Bereshit, in the beginning. So the first word of the Aseret Dibrot, the Ten Commandments, the Revelation, is Anochi, I am. That I am is also found in the beginning, because the 10 Ma'amarot, the utterances of creation, and the Dibrot, the commandments, are different faces of the same reality. So Anochi is there in Bereshit already. The I am, the existence of the world, is a testimony to the I am of the One. The I am of the One takes on the garment of the world. Now the I am takes on the garment of speech, the garment of language. Because yes, that same Havaya is found in language as well. So all words are tied to it. All words are rooted in it. And that's what it means that we heard it from the mouth of God, not as speech, but Sinai as awareness. At Sinai, we became, at our own Sinai, we become, because we're always standing in front of the mountain. At our own Sinai, we become aware of the presence. We become aware of Anochi Hashem Elokecha. We become aware that it's not worth valuing or worshiping anything else the way we do that truth. And therefore, the Zohar tells us that all the other commandments, all the 611 commandments, are really backups, are really ways of making sure that we keep these two. All speech is rooted in Yud He Vav He and Yah and Ha, and all the commandments are rooted in Anochi, the I am of that Yud He Vav He. Speech is a divine gift that comes to us from deep within. When we say Torah min hashamayim, the Torah from heaven, we do not mean that it was brought out of the sky. Shamayim is a way of saying the Torah is divine. The Torah is divine because it comes from the deepest heart, not from the highest sky. That Shamayim is to be found in the heart of the human being, in the heart of the people Israel, in the heart of all seekers, and in the heart of all that is. Hadibur ha'Elohi, the divine word speaks itself out of all creation. Shalom, see you next week. Take care.